Hi. Yes, you're all set.
Great. Welcome, Vikram. Vikram, founder of Mavi's. And here I have one of his products I'm sipping on. You're the brewer, right, Vikram?
Yes. I don't get to brew as much as I would like to, but I still try my best.
Wonderful. Welcome. For folks who are joining us live and those who join us later on, we're doing this series of Wellness Live where we're talking to interesting founders and brands like Mavi's. The idea here is for us to understand a little bit more about the food we're putting into our bodies and what health means, what the definition of health means for each of us. Today we have the privilege of having Vikram with us. Vikram has founded Mavi's and is I think of him as the original Kombucha guy of India. He and together with his team have built an amazing set of products that we have evaluated and we have assessed, and we found that they're really authentic and clean brands. There you go. They're on the Pynk platform as well. Today's discussion is all about fermentation, kombuchas, and why we need them. Why we need them in our lives. Why these are healthy for us, for our gut, and so on. So without further ado, let me invite Vikram to share a little bit about the brand story and yourself, Vikram. Right? What got you started onto kombucha, and also tell us what the heck is kombucha.
So, first of all, thank you so much for doing this, Raj. And I think the very idea that we talked about, that educating people is so important because people are still trying to discover, still trying to get their, crossing their T's and dotting their I's about kombucha, even people who've had it. So it's very important to keep talking about it again and again. Starting, I am the founder, like she mentioned, and me and my wife, we were in the US about 6 years ago when we discovered kombucha accidentally, because we didn't want to drink alcohol. My wife didn't want to drink alcohol, to be more specific, and that's how we discovered kombucha, because a friend suggested, if you don't want to drink something alcoholic, why don't you try this? And we were like, wow, this is very different, interesting. And my wife really liked it. I didn't like it so much at that point because I was more inclined towards the other beverages at the party. But then that's how it sort of got us. And then we kept having it for the duration that we were there. And, and we said, okay, this is interesting. This is nice. And I've always been into trying new things, making new stuff. So like baking sourdough bread or whatever. So just to make my wife happy and to have something, because she does not like to drink alcohol and cold drinks and whatever and juices at the party. So just to have something healthy for her is why we bought kombucha back with us, and we started making it at home. So that was our introduction to kombucha. Now, honestly, I never thought what kombucha was till I got it here, and then I had to teach my mother-in-law how to take care of it while I went on the ship, because me and my wife, we were both not here, and somebody had to take care of it. So then we read up a little bit on it, and basically it's a fermented tea. So you make tea, and then you add sugar to it, and then you add some kombucha to it, the old kombucha that you already have, and then you let it ferment. It's like making yogurt from milk. It's a very similar process if you look at it. So that's it, and then you let it ferment. Yogurt is usually done overnight. Kombucha can take anywhere between 10 to 15 days, sometimes 20 days, depending on the temperature and a lot of other factors. But what the result is a very comparatively a low sugar beverage, which is naturally carbonated, and it's great tasting. It's a great replacement for sodas and colas and probably beer and wine, etc. as well. So it's like a bridge between the two, and that's where we were. We were trying to create that bridge when we tried selling kombucha in the market. That's what the bridge, because we realized that there are a lot of people like us who want to be healthy, who don't want to have a lot of sugar or artificial beverages or preservatives, and they want to do something more natural and organic. And that's what we thought, okay, if we can do it, and if this is good for us, it must be good for a lot of other people as well. And that's how sort of kombucha became our thing. And Mavi's came into being because my wife's name is Minakshi, so we call her Mashi at home, and my name is Vikram. And Mavi just sounded cool. So, we could have Vima, and I don't know, we tried a whole bunch of combination, but Mavi was the coolest of them all. So that's how Mavi came into being. And then eventually when the company was, when we registered as a company, then we called it Miraculous and Vital Indulgence. And every word has a meaning in it. Miraculous because we truly believe that all these ferments are really miraculous because of all the health benefits they did not have as original ingredients are now there after fermentation. So they're really miraculous. They do really wonderful things for your body. And vital because, they help. B12 is one of the most deficient vitamins in the world today. And, fermented food are a very good source of vitamin B12 in general. So it became very essential. Vitamin B complex, vitamin C, all of these. And then indulgence because not everybody sort of understands the taste. There is no benchmarking for kombucha's taste. I mean, we are getting there. I think we are getting there, but there's no benchmarking. So that's why it was an indulgence. So people who understood, like I think wine is an indulgence because not everybody understands wine in India, right? So similarly, kombucha is an indulgence because you needed sort of a palate. You needed to have a little bit of a refinement in the taste, if I may say so, without offending anybody.
Having your
wheat kvass. Yeah.
This one has a little bit of a tangy taste, and it's almost like there's tamarind in it. It sort of has a fuller mouthfeel than other beverages.
Yes. So because it's a very full-bodied thing. So I never understood when I read about wines when I was traveling and, you would read magazine, they would say, this is a full-body wine. And I'm like, what does it even mean? Right? Now when I do it and now I taste kombucha and ginger ale and other things, I'm like, okay, now I understand what it means when it says it has a very fuller body,
Right.
A kombucha, some flavors would be a little bit more liquidy, more watery in the sense. Kefir is very watery, for example. When you do wheat kvass, it's a very full body. It's a very textured drink, I feel, with kombucha. So compared to kombucha. So yeah, so that way, yes. And because it has zero sugar, that the tanginess is more prominent in wheat kvass, right? So anywhere, a lot of places, what happens is that people usually add a lot of sugar to compensate for the tang, for the tang, and that's how it becomes interesting. So like if you drink a lemon soda somewhere, to compensate for the sourness of the lemon, there is so much sugar that is being put in that you're essentially drinking a sugar syrup by the end of it with a hint of lemon.
So that brings me to my other point about kombucha itself. There is you need to put a lot of sugar in it, or some amount of sugar in it, and then the bacteria eats it. And at the end of it, you have this kombucha. Firstly, tell us about how do you pick between a good kombucha that has low sugar or no sugar and a kombucha where sugar has been added, not for the SCOBY, and if you can talk about SCOBY also a little bit, not for the SCOBY to eat it up, but actually to sweeten the beverage. How do we pick the right kombucha? And also talk to us a little bit about any health benefits, like there are purported health benefits of gut health, etc. You were telling me that you've heard from your customers about how it has made a difference to them.
So essentially, one thing we need to remember is that for any fermentation to happen, you have to have some sort of food source, which is essentially carbohydrates and sugar, to ferment, right? So if I just wanted to ferment tea, it will not ferment on its own. So you needed to add some sugar so that the bacteria and the yeast, they could feed on it. So the yeast feed on the sugar, producing alcohol. That alcohol is being eaten by the bacteria as food, and then they produce all the vitamin B, C, enzymes, acids, and everything that are good for the body. Now, how do you recognize a good kombucha from a bad kombucha? Well, you have to read the labels. Lately there's been a huge uproar with the food farmer and a lot of other people talking about it. We've been talking about it since the beginning of the day, because reading a label gives you the glimpse into what it is. What am I saying and what am I writing on the bottle? Are they matching, right? Are they the same thing? So if you look at any of our products and if you read the label, I don't think you would have seen such a clean label, not in the sense of design, but in the sense of, oh, by the way, the new designs look, I think, cleaner than the last ones. I feel so, but that's not the point. The point is ingredients. So if you see something which says natural identical flavors, don't get swayed by the word natural. It's natural identical, not natural. It is natural identical. So it is a flavor that's mimicking what a natural flavor would taste like or feel like, right? And there are always, so that is one. Two, when you taste a kombucha, trust your instinct and your palate. If it's sweet, if it's too sweet for you, it has more sugar than probably you would probably want to consume in general. If it is not so sweet, then of course the sugar is less. I mean, it goes without saying. So you have to believe, and so you have to keep that in mind, read the label, see what it says, and compare it with other things. So say, for example, if you were to compare a kombucha, normal regular kombucha, to a fruit juice. A fruit juice, even the best quality and the cold pressed ones, they have anywhere between 10 to 15 grams of sugar per 100 ml. Compared to that, any good decent kombucha in the market today has anywhere between 3 to 5 grams of kombucha per 100 ml. Now imagine sugar. That's such a huge difference. Yes, it's like almost 3 to 5 times difference between how much sugar difference is there. And if you compound it day by day, and it adds up pretty quickly. Plus, kombucha has more health benefits in general because of all the acids and honestly, I don't feel kombucha is such a great probiotic per se. I know we don't measure all of that, but because we don't put anything out from outside, so there is no way to certain how much is there, right? But in general, a good clean label which has no preservatives, no antioxidants, no natural identical flavors, natural extracts, all of this is not there. That's a clean kombucha for me. And one more important thing is it has to be refrigerated. If your kombucha is not, when you're buying it and it is not refrigerated wherever it is, you need to ask what happened, right? Because if it is not refrigerated, means it's already preserved or it's filtered or there are some preservatives added to it. That defeats, to me and to most people who ferment, that defeats the very purpose of having a kombucha. Because kombucha is supposed to be this alive drink, right? And all of that. And if all of that is taken away from it, then it's no more than a overpriced iced tea, I feel. Right? So that's where I stand in terms of how kombucha or any other ferment should be. Now, jahan tak sugar ka baat hai, sugar people use different. Read the label, ask question. Ask question. I mean, if you're really into it, if you're really so, if you're hell bent on finding out exactly what it is, and you're so conscious about what you're eating and what you're putting into your body, read. I'm sure you can find enough articles. Ask people like us, DM us, call us, ask a question, try the product. If you find something is not up to your taste, ask a question. Probably what you've already had sometime before is not the real thing, right? Or it is some sort of deception at times in terms of marketing and whatever. So you got to be just a careful, aware consumer when it comes to all of this. Yeah. And most of all, enjoy whatever you are doing and drinking or whatever. I think stress causes more of a problem with whatever we are consuming than the product itself, I think.
This is what I discovered about finding the right products from the market. In fact, one of the reasons why Pynk exists is to make this choice easier. Because we have to learn to read labels, number one. Labels, however, are not enough. So for things like kombucha, it is very hard for us to figure out what is right and what is not. And so we have to sort of dig deeper beyond what is there in the label to really understand true quality of beverages like this. To your point on sugar content versus fruit juices, etc. You ferment kombucha for 15 days, I think, right? 15 or so. 10
to 15 days, depending on the temperature. Then we bottle it, then we let it ferment for another day or two. Yeah. Usually the process takes anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks is what I would say. Around 2 weeks is the process.
A lot of people have also recommended that because it's so hard to trust brands in the market, better for you to make kombucha at home and ferment it yourself. But there is also some concern that, how to do it right and whether you're getting into toxicity for your fermentation. So do you have any comment on that?
Yes, so essentially it's simple. So the easiest way to do is always use glass for fermentation, because glass is inert. You can keep acids in it and it doesn't do anything to the glass. So glasses are very inert. And secondly, if you don't use glass and if you want to use bigger vessels, it has to be a stainless steel vessel. Anything else, it has to be 304 or 316 grade steel vessel for your fermentation. That's the minimum that you have to do. Anything else wouldn't do, because you have to be careful. See, even these days silicone and all these polymers, they are really good quality, and you get food grade plastics and all of that. But in general, in a long term, to be safe and all that, also for handling and everything, we use steel. And when we do really small batches, and when we want to see what's going on inside the jar, there is any activity happening inside the jar, that's when we use glass, because that makes easier for us. Because you can't see inside steel, right? You can't see through steel, so you don't know, unless you're Superman, of course. But it becomes really difficult. So glass is a good choice. And even at home, if you're fermenting anything, I would always recommend, if it's a very acidic ferment like a kombucha or whatever, you should always use glass. Glass is easily available, and glass is safest.
Got it. Understand. So so you can make it at home without fear.
100%.
And any for people that may be worried about toxicity, if you have any how to make sure that you know when to stop.
I see the whole idea of fermentation is so crazy, because you would understand that if you look at in our real life, forget about kombucha for a second, we ferment things which are otherwise inedible, and we ferment them and then they become edible. A lot of seeds across cultures across the globe, a lot of seeds, a lot of plants, you ferment them and then you eat them, they become edible. So pulses or lentils, which are very common in India, if you eat them just like that, it causes a lot of bloating, gas and all of that. But the correct way to do them is to ferment them overnight, to leave them in water. That's also fermentation. It's just a different sort of type of fermentation. You're not going to drink that water later and whatever. So it breaks the pectin and the phytic acid and all that. It breaks it down, makes it more digestible, makes it more absorbable. And that's the power of fermentation. And that's why fermentation really excites me, because you can ferment anything and everything. And whatever you start with, I mean, now we of course know that if you're going to ferment cabbage, what it's going to taste like. But there are times when we don't know what are we going to get the other side of the road. We don't know what is going to be, because the tastes sometimes are crazy. Like when you ferment radish, the leaves are so amazing to eat compared to the actual radish. It is mind-boggling. Yeah, we don't eat tendli at home in general. Just that me and Meenakshi don't like it. But when you ferment it, tendli, ivy gourd. So we're really not particularly fond of a vegetable like that. But the moment you ferment it, it tastes better than gherkins. Who would have known?
Interesting. I want to take some questions that are coming up from chat. Is wheat kwas similar to wheat kanji? Trishala Chopra is asking. In fact, this was a question for little question also I had. That please answer this, as well as whether there are any Indian equivalents to what you're doing with fermentation and kombucha.
So our narrative has always been that we are bringing global food in with an Indian context. So even our kombucha flavors were ginger and honey, kokum, shikanji, which is lemon mint, and flavors like that, right? So that still holds true. We had that still holds true for all our ferments. Beet kwas, what we do. Essentially, kwas is made using sauerkraut juice. So you make sauerkraut, the juice is very active, filled with, brimming with activity. So you use that with beetroot and water and everything to ferment it. So it becomes a starter culture for the beet kwas. Whilst in kanji, there is nothing like that. In kanji, usually you just soak the carrots, the black carrots and everything. But when we use mustard in our beet kwas, and kanji is also essentially done with mustard in north of India, they taste very, very similar. So every time a customer comes to us and tries the beet kwas, they're like, oh, this is just like how, my nani makes it or my mama makes it, or, how we used to make it at home when we were children. So yes, we always try and do that because it's easier for people to understand and to adapt to things they are comfortable with.
Vikram, I don't know if I understood you clearly. You're saying that kwas and kanji are different because kwas has what?
Kwas is the starter culture from sauerkraut, the sauerkraut juice. When you make sauerkraut, when you ferment cabbage, essentially, so the water that is left at the end, it has a lot of active ingredients. So we use that as the starter culture when we started making beet kwas, the batch 0, then we make it. When we start making it from scratch, every time we have to make it from scratch, we have to add some sauerkraut juice to start it. Once that is done, once the flavor, once you keep doing the batches over and over again, then you keep using some of the old beet kwas to make the new beet kwas. Right. So you make sure that there's always some culture that is being, it's called black, in fermentation, it's called back slopping.
I see.
So you take some culture from yogurt, you take yogurt from ready yogurt and you put it in the new yogurt, or you take whatever. So similarly, we take some beet kwas from the ready beet kwas and put it in the new beet kwas, so to make it a beet kwas, like that.
So I suppose the taste
and like I said,
same, but the composition is different between the two.
Yes, the taste is the same. The ingredients in our beet kwas, we have ginger, curry leaves, mustard seeds. So very Indian sort of spices. So the taste profile is very similar to a kanji, almost similar. But technically, kanji is usually made with black carrots in the north in the winters, whilst beet kwas is made with beetroot, which is pretty much available around the year.
Sudha Jain 7216 wants to know how much quantity to take.
So usually, when it comes to beverages, a 300 ml bottle is a safe quantity to begin with. But I always tell people, ati sarvatra varjate, meaning moderation is the key, So you be moderate when you start something, start slow. There is no minimum or maximum. It's a very bio-individual thing. Some people drink this much coffee, some people drink like a whole bottle of coffee, right? So it's a very bio-individual thing. But how much you should drink, I think it's easy. About 200 to 300 ml is a safe distance, is a safe quantity to have in terms of any beverage.
So this bottle
right?
Is how much?
300 ml. So that's a 300 ml bottle. So that's usually how much a pint is. Yeah, so that's essentially the idea. You can always put it back, cap it back, and put it in the refrigerator. But you could just sort of, while you're on the way to the office or going to meet a friend or whatever, going to a party, you can just take your beet kwas when you're driving, and you can slowly sip on it as you go along.
Sudha Jain 7216 person again wants to know, it's bottle, so take it directly or mix in something.
So if you're talking about kombucha in general, of course you can drink it directly. It's a ready-to-drink beverage. But if you want to mix it with it, feel free. We are on pynk.health, so we are going to be talking about healthy stuff. But drink here and there, and if you don't want to add some unhealthy mixers to your beverage, to your alcohol, I think these are great, amazing. These are much better than all the other stuff that you probably end up buying, like soft drinks, and they're loaded with sugar and whatnot and preservatives. This is a much healthier alternative to all of that, I feel. I have a friend, so he usually carries his own fruit juice when he goes to a party, so that in case he wants to, make a cocktail for himself, he could, he has his own clean juice and whatever. But I think that this solves that problem. Now you have something which is carbonated, natural, organic, all of that, and you can mix it with multiple things. Totally up to you. There's no hard rule for this is how you have to drink kombucha. Enjoy as you want it to be.
You're all about indulgence.
Yeah, it's all about fun. I mean, if we all live, literally the whole humankind lives to eat. That's the whole point of it, right? And if you can't enjoy what you are having, then there is no point of it. And that's exactly the point. Now, when I'm drinking this kombucha, Mavi's kombucha, I know I'm not just talking about this brand, but a lot of things that I have, I am so happy, and I don't have to worry about, oh shit, how many calories did I consume, or oh, how many, what are the ingredients and what all. I don't have to worry about all this. I could simply just have a bottle without thinking about it.
Yeah.
So that just works for me, right?
We have to do our research. We have to be watchful, of course.
Absolutely.
Norizan by Neha. Yes, Neha says, thank you for sharing this. I love Mavi Kombuchas. It's just tempted by my indulgence here. Trishana Chopra again, she says, for how many hours can we keep kombucha out?
So when we bottle the kombucha, so when I bottle this, I keep it out for anywhere between 24 to 48 hours. That allows the flavor infusion to happen from the ginger pieces. If you say there are ginger pieces at the bottom, yes, right? So that allows it to infusion to happen and the flavor to sort of seep into the beverage. And secondly, it also allows some amount of fermentation to happen at ambient temperature. So that gives the fizz. So that more sugar is being consumed and it is being converted into all these acids and everything. Plus, CO2 is being produced inside the bottle by the bacteria. So that makes it naturally carbonated.
Excellent. Is it safe for kids? Trishana Chopra wants to know.
100%. But just remember, just like we eat 3 chapatis and the kids have 1 chapati, similarly, if we have a bottle of kombucha, you should also moderate the quantity of kombucha that you're giving to your children in general. Of anything for that matter, but kombucha still contains some amount of sugar, so way healthier than all of that, but it's also they contain a lot of acids which are being produced in our body as well. But our body sometimes does not produce enough to sort of put it in a detox mode, as people like to call it these days, detox. So with kombucha and other beverages like kefir and kvass, sometimes your body can go into that detox mode where you might have to go to the toilet a couple of times or 3 times. You might feel a little, you might feel that cleaning happening. Sometimes something flares up because it's trying to get rid of, toxins in your body. So they might travel across your body and whatever. But in general, nothing happens. Like what I'm talking about is maybe 1 in 1,000, 1 in 2,000 cases when something like this happens. Most people are pretty okay with all of that. Kids can have it. If they can have all the other, if they can have all the other stuff comes in plastic packets with all kind of fancy palm oil and I don't know, God knows what all ingredients. I don't even know how to pronounce them, even as a grown-up with a science student. So if they can have all of that, they can definitely have kombucha, is what I believe. But not really young children, not like 1-year toddlers, maybe like 3-4 year olds and whatever.
In general, you're saying in moderation, it's
in moderation, it's perfectly fine. Absolutely.
Okay. Ritika of 5 wants to know, how does the taste of kombucha change with time? What's the best bracket to consume it in? Meaning, passage of time. Again, so kombucha does not go bad at any point. Think of it like wine. So the older it gets tartier. If you don't refrigerate it, again, so there's a couple of things. When you refrigerate kombucha or any of the beverages that we're talking about, ginger ale, kefir, whatever, what happens is you slow down the rate of fermentation to almost 0. The ideal range of temperature is about 4 degrees for storage of kombuchas. 4 degrees in the refrigerator. No. So like 2 to 6 degrees. So 4 is an ideal temperature. Plus minus 2 degrees is what we are expecting it to be. But that's a good one. Refrigerator.
2 to 6 is refrigerator. Your freezer is always less than 0, right? So refrigerator, 2 to 6 degrees is good. Basic refrigeration. And you can store it as long as you want. We keep our kombucha. Sometimes we forget about them. Some bottle lying in the corner. 3-4 months, 6 months is not a problem. Yeah. What can happen is, one, it can get fizzy because the fermentation is not 0. It's almost 0. So with a long period of time, the fermentation can continue to happen and the sugar gets lower. So it gets tartier. Because of the fermentation, the acids are being produced. So it gets a little tartier. And then it gets, of course, drier and fizzier. So that's basically the 2-3 things that will happen. Sugar consumed, tartiness increases, fizz also increases. So when you open it, just be careful about opening it. Think of it like a soda bottle.
So basically, you can have it anytime.
You can have it anytime. You can have it whenever. And as far as the palate is concerned, it's a very personal thing. If you like sour stuff, keep your kombucha out longer or whatever and then have it. or if you like sweeter stuff, maybe you would prefer something fresher or whatever. But in general, if you like kombucha, if you like a particular brand or a particular flavor, that's pretty much it. Because when you are in the market, you're not looking for the product to really change so much after time. Like, you're looking for that sweet spot. So which is already in the market and we're selling it at. That's the kind of sweet spot that you want it to be at.
Yeah. It's personal. Ritika05 also wants to know, can you drink kombucha if you're on medications?
Yeah, in general, there should not be a problem unless you're allergic to something in particular, or if your doctor says you're not supposed to have anything of that sort. But I don't think otherwise there is any problem. In fact, if you're on antibiotics or if you're on anything, that sort of medication in general is not it is a good thing for your body because you're trying to get rid of something. But in the long run, it also always has side effects, no matter what medication you have. So things like kombucha and all these, organic fruits and vegetables and organic stuff and whatever, it sort of helps your body to heal better. It does not have to fight off those things from your food, right? Your food is clean now. If you're eating organic food, if you're drinking kombucha, kvass, cake, sauerkraut, and that's one of the very reasons we do organic is so that the body does not have to fight off anything from the food itself. So the body is just healing, and it's not trying to do anything extra. So healing mode on. So of course you can have it with medication, you can have it on empty stomach, you can have it on full stomach. Just see how your body feels. Say you drink it on an empty stomach and you feel, you feel okay, or you feel, maybe you are. I don't know how your body reacts. I absolutely have no clue. But and if you drink it on a full stomach, whatever makes you feel better is what you do.
Yeah, like you're saying, it's not anything special. It's like any other food, right? You see how your body.
It's like coffee. Yeah. When I was 20 years old, I could drink coffee at 10 o'clock in the night and I could sleep at 10:15. But now that I'm 37, if I have coffee after 4 o'clock, it keeps me up at night, right? So that's how it is. So you just have to be a little more aware of your choices, and how you consume whatever you're consuming.
Okay.
People have to be more conscious. Actually, I was in the gym and I was thinking about what we're going to talk about. I think people don't have to be what is the word? Convenience. So instead of convenience, people should choose consciousness, right? Instead of being convenient, कि अच्छा ये पास में पड़ा है, ये दे दो यार, यही दे दो भैया, या फिर यही खरीद लेते हैं, या who's gonna make all the food at home, yeah, let's just order or just go get whatever. If people are just a little more careful and conscious about what they are choosing in that moment itself, that will make a huge difference. So instead of ordering something from, I don't know, somewhere, or if you choose to say order from you guys, right, from Pynk, if they choose to order, okay, I don't have to worry about, I know this is going to be clean. It's just a conscious little effort that you put in. You're still going to get food. You're still going to get everything. It's just going to be so much healthier and better for you in like for a person in general. So that's the kind of attitude people need to have while choosing anything in general in life, especially food.
That's a nice dichotomy you pointed out there. Okay, Dechan Gyalde, I'm saying it right, says, is it safe for 2 years old? Yes, I think you answered that already, saying yes. The general answer is yes, and I'm not sure.
Yes. So yeah, as long as the children are eating normal food, regular food and everything, they are eligible for drinking kombucha as well.
And Ritika05 again has asked, can it be had on an empty stomach? I think you're saying have anything, anytime, to see how your body responds to it. So people are saying very much clear. Sudha Jain 7216 says very much clear. And trainer Arvind Das, good to see you, bro. Diksha Sargam is asking, how do you promote sustainability and environmentally friendly practices in your kombucha production?
Hey, thank you so much for asking us. I think it's very important. One of the important things that we do as a company when we are doing kombucha, I was in Merchant Navy, like I mentioned before as well. And, I was working with a company. For them, sustainability and energy saving and all this is so important as a company that, I've I've grown up with that feeling since after I left my school and since I started kombucha. So even here, so we try and recycle all our glass bottles. We actually incentivize our customers for buying kombucha, and if they save the bottles, they can give it back to us, and we would love to give them a free bottle or something back for like you said 10 bottles or whatever or something. Because for us there is a reverse logistic cost. So there is going to be an extra cost for us to pick up the bottles and whatever and whatnot. And we are not like a huge company that has trucks running around all day and collecting bottles and whatever. But what happens is the customer feels that, okay, at least if I save the bottles, it's not going to be any use for me. If I save and give it back, I will give an extra bottle. So there is no lose situation for them. It's only a win-win for the customer. They get to have a good product, they return the bottle, and they get another good product. So it's a win-win for everyone. Plus, we use only organic, as far as possible. We use only organic ingredients in all our thing. We try and source it locally as far as possible. All our vegetables, everything locally, and more importantly, we reuse all our packing material to the best of our ability. We are trying to sort of sort it out because as we are growing, branding becomes very important. We understand that now. So we are also working on it how to. But you will, whenever you order with us, every now and then you will see a box you will receive a box that has been used twice, but it's clean, of course, and everything. So we make sure that, say, especially plastic and, foam and all of these things, if they can be reused in some way, then we definitely try and do that, because packing material is something that creates a lot of waste. It's essential, but you can't really do without it. If I send my glass bottles without good packaging, and if I break a bottle, my carbon footprint increases way more than not using plastic or whatever. So, you have to do a cost benefit analysis and see what actually doesn't hurt the environment. And the customers always have a choice again to send the bottles back or whatever. So,
Amazing. I didn't even know about this. Sending back, so we'll do that. Okay, I'll take this last comment. It's not a question, but comment. Please, Sudha Jain 7216, please inform whenever you will take class on kombucha, sauerkrauts, kimchi, etc. Absolutely. I think, maybe Vikram is doing those, but we'll have you back, Vikram. Today was kombucha oriented, but we'll do a whole discussion on the other products.
Absolutely.
Sauerkraut, kimchi, in fact, some of them are available on Pynk also if you want to head there.
We've changed the label for the beet course that you have in your hand. We've got a new label for beet course as well. So probably next time you get a beet course, you'll probably have this. We've just started with the new labels, because we understood that the customers should be able to relate to the product they're having. When they're having an organic beverage, when they're having all of this, they should be able to feel that as well in the branding and and all of that. So that is why we spent almost a year and a half doing this, but it's coming around nicely. So I think that also helps people pick up the right product, hopefully.
Thank you for your work, Vikram. It's one of the few raw kombucha brands that I have found in the market. So we're very happy to have you on Pynk. I have a fun, we'll take 2 more minutes. I have a fun rapid fire round for you.
Okay.
We wrap up today. Okay. Favorite vacation spot? Hello? Yeah, okay. We'll start again.
Yeah, okay. We'll start again.
Yes. This is a rapid fire round, Vikram, so you have to very quickly.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Done.
Favorite vacation spot?
Wherever my friends are. Period.
Good, you're a friends guy. Favorite Mavi's product?
Hops kombucha.
Which one?
Hops kombucha. So the same flour that you use to make the beer, we now infuse it in the kombucha, and it's it's like a very good alternative to beer. So it's one of my favorite these days, in the evening especially.
Okay, so beer or kombucha?
Kombucha. Come on.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Okay, mountains or sea?
Mountains.
Oh, you should move. Mathematics or chemistry?
Mathematics.
Oh, really? For a fermentation guy, I thought you pick chemistry.
All science is based on mathematics, period. There is nothing, no physics, no biology, no chemistry can exist without mathematics. And as an entrepreneur, I can tell you, if your team is good in mathematics, they are good at everything. You don't have to worry about jack shit. They are good at everything. They will figure out everything because mathematics is all logic. A plus B equal to C. If you can prove this and if you understand this, the whole life is this.
Oh, I didn't realize that we had mathematics fan in house. Okay, big dogs or small dogs? I know you're a dog guy.
Big dog, big dog.
Big dog. Okay.
I have a Rottweiler at home, so big dog. Sorry?
Money or fame?
Fame.
Fame. I'm not surprised. Reading or listening?
Reading.
Reading? Interesting. Yeah. Final, most interesting question. Amazon or Pynk?
Pynk. Come on.
Thank you for indulging us. Okay,
As an entrepreneur, I can tell you that, personally, if these are my answers, right? If you ask Mavi as a company, you can have probably different answers for a lot of things. For us, summer is better as a season, and coast is better for kombucha and whatever and all of that. And there's a lot of different answers. But and also for say Pynk and Amazon, we love working with new, small, curated platforms because the whole idea is the ideology that you have and I have is where we started. If we can't remain true to the very passion that brought us here, none of this really matters. Can't you get a job? Can't I get a job and make money? And money will come and go. But something to leave behind, something that people will remember you, something people think about, even when you are not in the room, in the city, in the country, is what makes this life worthwhile. Otherwise, money. A lot of people have money. How many people have the stories about how the first kombucha was ever created and whatever? Not a lot.
Well,
So I think that's what drives us.
thank you so much. We are at the end of our time, but we are not at the end of our conversation yet. So we do need to get back together again to continue this conversation.
Absolutely.
Amazing entrepreneur, Vikram. Mavi,
Thank
you put
so
together such a great collection of clean products in this cluttered world. It is hard to find clean products. You have broken that barrier for all of us. So I really want to thank you on behalf of Pynk as well as all of our patrons and customers for putting this together and making it available to all of us. Thank you so much, and thanks to the audience for joining us today, those who are watching us live and those who are logging back in on our channel to watch this program. We're going to be back with this series, and we'll bring you interesting stories from brands and experts just to create the awareness and education of what healthy eating looks like and what some of the clean brands are available today in the Indian market. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much. Everyone who has any questions at any point about fermentation, please feel free to reach out. I am the guy who usually answers your questions whenever, even in the middle of the night. I'm the guy who is usually answering when I'm going to bed. So just don't worry about it. Just hit us with your questions. And please order the stuff from Kombucha. Now we've talked so much about Kombucha. We need to start restock. We need to restock quickly, huh? Then at Pynk, I hope.
Yes.
All right.
Pynk and they're in stock. All right.
Yes.
Bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye, Vikram. Thank you.
You guys have a good weekend too. Bye-bye.